I have hello and welcome to Not Right in the Head, starring Joyce, the Hammer Nance, and
Paul Richardson, the wonky one.
the Wonky one.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so here we are today in this episode 37, November 16th, 2022. Uh,
Yeah, one year today since my father passed away of COVID. So
so yes, there's still
no, had
articles.
no vaccine. Didn't get a vaccine.
He didn't get a vaccine. He
No, he
should.
didn't get a vaccine, and he was. There was no reason why he was 93, but no reason why he couldn't have lived to be 100. There was nothing wrong with him, but he he was I don't know, bought into, or was the rhetoric about especially in Michigan, the anti-vax, that it wasn't necessary. And I don't think he was so anti-vax. I know he's not that, but probably just that it wasn't necessary. It was no big deal, and he just never got one. And my thought really was that I hoped his circle of contacts was small enough that maybe he wouldn't have to worry, given that he was 93 and really didn't go and out into public. But it turned out to be an infected family member that brought it on him, so it didn't. It really didn't matter.
Yeah. It's usually in that scenario, it's some kind of caregiver, even if
Yeah.
they're just an occasional.
Yep.
So that I'm sad to say has happened far and wide.
Mm-hmm.
To a lot of people, and a lot of people that are older like that, they have to trust the other people to do the right thing. And
Well,
get
and the thing is
get
that it was my sister who, uh, she was vaccinated, but she didn't have any symptoms.
well,
So
and there's that. Yeah, I mean, I know. So if in those situations where you're around somebody that is fragile, even if you don't have symptoms, even if you tested negative, I think you still have to behave as if you have it,
well,
and
he would.
have them behave.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't.
He didn't wear a mask, and she probably didn't wear a mask.
No, and he didn't have the vaccine, because if he would have had the vaccines, he wouldn't have gotten as sick. And not only that, didn't seek treatment for almost a week before,
Hmm.
so he was already too sick by the time he eventually collapsed in his own home. you know that
Hmm.
he never got up. He actually never stood on his own two legs after that collapse. So
Well, I don't think this will make you feel any better, but Gail's mom did get vaccinated at least twice, and was 83 maybe. But
mhm,
somebody came in, I think it might have been a caregiver,
yeah.
and that's where she got it. And actually, her dad got it too, but her mom ended up dying as a result.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no telling. There's no guarantees, but at least there's the you have to go with the best bet, and that is to at least you're no worse off to get the vaccination. It doesn't mean
Well,
you're
no, I
guaranteed.
agree with the vaccination, but even beyond that,
Yeah.
people probably should wear masks at all times around anybody, over some age, some given age, especially if they, over 90 for sure, and probably over 80 for sure.
So, given that the topic being a pandemic out of control because of a complete a-hole of a president, who's now announced his bid for reelection. I don't really know how that's possible, because he's apparently says he's president now, or maybe he's gone back on that because he can't run for 3 terms. So I don't know what his theory is on that, but he's announced a bid for reelection to once. This is America has never been down this path of crazy before. It's been down some tough roads, but crazy. I'm not sure. He's crazy. Donald Trump is a crazy. asshole. That's all he is. I don't find any redeeming factor, any redeeming qualities in him. Nothing. And also, he seems to be his speech last night. You know how he's always either hyped up and obnoxious. That's what his Adderall moments, or he's kind of laid back and starts. Those are his benzodiazepine, too much Ativan moments when he wants to be calm, because he really can't ever be in the middle. So he was a while back and said that, they said, when I in 2016, if Trump, there'll be endless war. But I've had decades and decades of peace. I've had more decades of peace than any other president. Decades of peace since he's been president.
He's only been president. Was he ever?
He was elected in 26. It's been 6 years. He only took office in 2017. It's been 5.5.
I know, but did he ever do any president work? That's my question.
No, but the point is that he doesn't apparently know what a decade is. But you know what? I don't think his followers do either. So they're going to say, there's been decades of peace since Trump's been president.
Oh,
yeah, even.
Okay.
Yeah, his followers are complete idiots. So after they lose, they basically did. The Republicans lost the election.
You mean last week's or the last 2 years?
Well, they've lost the last 3. They lost in 2018. They lost in 2020. In fact, Trump didn't win in 2016, so that you can't count that. He was installed, but he lost.
Right.
He lost to the people.
Mm-hmm.
He lost again. The Republicans lost in 2018 with the big blue tsunami. They lost in 2020. Trump got his ass kicked, the big denial, and then he incited an insurrection, and then they just got their asses kicked again last Tuesday. And yet here he is again saying that he's going to rebuild America. And the part that was, the infuriating part of his remarks is that he said that he was going to create, when he's elected president again, he's going to create a commission on reparations for African Americans.
He said that?
Yeah.
Reparations?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll vote for that.
You would?
Absolutely.
Just any reparations, any kind at all? No, any kind?
For African Americans, yeah.
Anything he could come up with?
Well, but any kind.
Well, I don't. As long as it's a positive number.
Well, I don't think that's. I don't think that's.
You don't think it's money? Is it in goats or what? What is he gonna reparate in goats or sheep? Is it gonna be money?
Well, that's the thing is, for all the talk about reparations, the African American community has never actually come to a consensus on what type of reparations they're seeking.
Well, you know what? I would say they should just do like the Asian American, where they were given $20,000. It was I think in the 80s.
No, it was before. It was before that.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, because I was doing taxes then, and they had to declare it. Or actually, they didn't have to declare, but they kept asking me if they had.
No, well, I can tell you this is that they got reparations before. They got reparations before that.
Okay, so maybe they had.
Okay.
All right, so maybe they had 2 of them, and that's my point, which is they should. I'm fine with wherever they start, and if they want to say 20,000. Okay, it's not a great number, but it is a number.
Well, and you wait a minute, but here's that.
Add on to it later.
No, you can't. No, you
Why
can't.
Not?
No, you can't, because then there's no end to it. If a reparation is a contract, and so the reason I would be against that sort of reparation is because my best friend growing up in junior high school, his mother was in an internment camp, so she spent 3 years living in a horse stall in the Los Angeles area. And
so that was for Asian American.
Huh?
Asian American.
Japanese, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
She was Nisei, so second generation, and she got $21,000. Now that was my friend was, I knew him in the 70s,
Mhm.
and she never wanted to talk about it. But the only, in fact, she said, we don't talk about that anymore. It's over. We're Americans. And my friend told me that she got $21,000, which I thought was as a 13-year-old or 12-year-old, I thought it was a tremendous amount of money.
Right.
But of course, as they said, it's long gone. It means nothing anymore. The money's gone.
Right.
And here's the problem about monetary reparations. It's not enough. And
No,
that's the end.
yeah.
That's it. Once you get your reparation, it's over.
Well,
So
first of all, I disagree with the "it's over" concept, and second of all, so far they have gotten zero. So, and that's
well, wait a minute. How are you gonna? Why do you say? How can you have a reparation plan that doesn't have an end?
I didn't say there can't be an end, but I didn't say that beginning it means that that's the one and only time. Like, for instance, and this is a bad example, but in COVID, they gave 3 stimulus checks, okay? And each one, everyone thought would be the only one, or regular people thought that.
Right.
And, but then it ended up being 3, but nobody is expecting any more relating to that particular scenario. So it's over.
Well, but the problem is that, first of all, that's not a reparation for a wrong.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. I know, but I'm just saying that I don't think just because you say here's your reparation, that's the end of it. It doesn't.
Well, if you're going to pass a law, it has to be a law.
Well, maybe it would have to be probably passed by Congress, but
well, no, not maybe. It would be. It would have to be a federal law.
It would have to be passed by Congress. Well, the Supreme Court is always doing stuff that no one.
And the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas will step in and say the law is unconstitutional.
Well, or he might, step in and say, that didn't happen, and my wife wasn't there.
No, but the other problem is what's called is essentially a standing. Is what is in this today? What is, you're a black person in America? What is your injury? And if and so to just say here's a certain amount of money.
That's easy. That's easy to display in money.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that
you can just go with statistics of what black people make on average compared to white people,
but the problem is to even that out. You're supposed to even that out for over how many years? It's not going to be enough.
Well, it's not. You know what? I agree that there is never going to be enough because the injury was in money, but it was also in, their life.
No, but the injury is at this point is not monetary directly. The injury is opportunity.
Well, that's true. But when you do civil cases, and this would be in essence a big civil case, all you can do is money. True. Well, there's no way to equalize other than money.
Yes, you can. Yes, well, you just said the word. There are courts of law and courts of equity. And equity is a plan, it's something to do, an action. And so an action can be taken.
Okay, but they can do the stuff they're trying to get rid of right now, like I can't remember the word, but people getting into college having extra. What's that word?
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action. Yeah, they're trying. Right. They're getting rid of affirmative action. They're not adding.
That's the thing. If you have a reparation, that's the end of affirmative action.
I don't.
Yeah, it is.
I don't agree with that either. That would have to just be part of the deal. But part of the deal could be the opposite of that. The part of the deal could be anything that has anything to do with the government. At the very least, there will be affirmative action.
No, no. If you're repaired, there has to be. This will never be This will never be settled.
I don't understand why you have to do it all or nothing. I mean,
there has to be,
you
because
know,
there
the
has to
all
be.
is unexplainable and the nothing is nothing.
Well, okay, let's say that you have an accident with somebody in a car, and it's your fault, and you need to make them whole. You need to repair them.
Uh-huh.
Is it? Can they come back to you for the rest of their lives and say, "I need some more money for this. I need some more money for that"? At some point, you're going to say, "No, look, I've made you whole based on what happened," right?
No, but I don't agree that an accident is one incident. It's not a
Well, whatever. No, it is. You're talking about
multi-generational.
repairing. You're talking about making a repair.
I know, but
To repair.
those are not comparable.
Yeah, they are.
Somebody that got in a car accident, lost their arms and legs, is not comparable to a whole race of people that were treated like that. Not
Okay, but
even close.
then what you're saying is a reparation is not possible.
No, I didn't say that. I said the opposite.
Well, then it has to be
start the reparation.
It has to be a finite thing. You see what you're doing? You're walking down.
I agree. It can be a finite thing, but
then
you
have to define what it is.
And I don't agree that you have to start with whatever the finite thing is. I say you can start with something and then revisit and like, okay, we're going to give you $20,000 is not enough, but just say we're going to give you $20,000 and we're going to hope that that's going to be the end of it, but we will reevaluate in whatever, 5 years, 10 years. And then you can say, bring your case of why that isn't enough. And then, they could.
Well, then that was really
10 years.
Really
they could say we have to have $100,000, or they could
that
say
$100,000. No, that was really never a step towards reparation. No, you have to say what would be. No, the plaintiff has to come and say what would be an amount that would make me whole.
I know, but if you do it in like a one,
because they could always come back and say, you know what, I could use a little more money. Well, everybody could. And by the way, there are going to have to be poor other people who are on the hook for that reparation.
Okay.
And so should they never be off the hook? And by the way, there are also states that had nothing to do with it. In fact, they weren't states at the time, but because they are members of the United States, and the Constitution says if you join, you sign on to all past and future debts.
When you make whatever argument that you're making, you make the argument that nobody ever gets reparations because it's unattainable. And so thus, instead of getting something, they get nothing.
No, it's not true. I'm saying you're the one who's saying that the reparation, it's not possible to repair this.
I didn't say that.
Well, then it has to repair it.
I said
to repair it has to be finite.
It might need to be done in steps.
Okay, then the steps have to be out. That's what I'm saying. The steps have to be outlined.
Okay, the steps.
This is what would do it.
And
so you can see, but you can see.
Here's this, and then if this, sometimes everything can't be figured out all at one time, especially something this gigantic. And,
I think you can find if you do approach the problem from what the injury is at this point, which is opportunity, you can. So, for instance, my solution would be this: is that if you are a natural born African American, black citizen of the United States, born here, you'd have to be born here. You can't come from somewhere else. You have to be born in the United States. Not just a black citizen. You have to be born here, because then you were generational effect of the injury. Then the opportunity problem would be solved by, or would be addressed by, not solved by, that the federal government would, for a period of years, generations, pay for your opportunity recovery, which would, one thing be probably education, that you can go, that the federal government would pay for you to go to any college of your choice, not just HBCUs, but any college of your choice, and then you would then be elevated to have opportunity in the society. That's
okay. All right. I'm good with the education, but I mean, I do believe that there should be some kind of money.
well, that is money.
You're addressing the future with their education, but you're
Well,
not.
I know, but
that
so
path.
then if you just hand people, first of all, $20,000, $100,000 isn't enough. And so
I
what happens?
know it's
What
not
happens?
enough,
I know,
but
but
it
then
is more than
is
nothing.
$1 million enough? Is $2 million enough?
No.
Okay, so then what happens
there
when?
is no amount that's enough, but you
Well,
can
then that's not a reparation. Then you're saying reparation is not possible.
no, I didn't
It
say
has to
that.
address the injury.
I
And what's
said
happening here?
that you can't say there's no amount that would be enough, and thus they, $100 billion, is that enough? No, that's not enough. Okay, but
No, I'm talking about
zero enough.
per person.
Yes, zero is enough because we can't figure out what's enough.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. If you had a period of time of generations, say until the end of, if we did it now to the end of the 21st century, that's 80 years, almost 80 years, that 4 generations of people could get free education, and then be considered to be whole again and whole participants in the society. Because there's no way. And then how do you address the fact that how do you address the reparation of the fact that there's still going to be racism is a cultural thing. It's not just monetary.
Well, and not only that, the second you did even the education part, then the right-wing wackos would come out with their guns or something.
Well, the right wing is going to
would be
they're really going to balk it. Everyone's going to buy what I got to pay to go to college, but the black guy, it doesn't have to.
Right,
but
yeah,
reparation
we have to hear all that.
Here's the other problem with a finite monetary reparation is here's what happens to it. It gets spent. Most people are going to spend the money, and it's going to go back into the white man's pocket.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, that's why I would not necessarily advocate for the giant amount, but an amount.
Well,
I mean, if the Japanese Americans got 20,000 and that was their reparations,
but that was in from the 1940s. So my friend's mom got 21,000, so she was in a intern for 3 years. But that's $7,000 a year in 1940s terms, when most people made a good living in 1943 was probably something like about $1,500 to $2,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So she got almost 4 times that, but that's not enough.
Well, I'm going to agree with you that no matter what it is, it won't be enough. I agree.
Well, that's what I said. By the time I knew her in the 70s, 30 years later, she said it's gone. It's gone, and we don't talk about it. It's over with.
Uh-huh. All right.
We don't have the money
anymore. It was still an event that happened, and they got something.
Yeah, okay, but that's what I'm saying is if it's really as serious as event as we're talking about,
it is.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm saying is that something isn't enough. Something isn't going to do it. And the other thing is,
I don't know how you can say something won't do it, but nothing will.
I didn't say nothing will.
But if you don't give people something, then the alternative is they're going to have nothing.
No, I'm saying that I'm giving them opportunity. Education is the number one opportunity.
Okay, and that is a cool deal, but not everybody can go to college. Not everybody can even go to trade school. There are people that fit into your definition of what qualifies as a person, but they just might be handicapped and they might not be able to go even to high school or grade school.
There are programs. We already have programs for that, though.
Well, but they don't get reparations. You're just saying, well, we already have programs for people.
Well, but is their injury due to their race then?
That's neither here nor there. You just said everybody that was born here, that was black, who
No,
can't
no, I'm
get
saying you have,
education, but if they don't
no,
get
no, you
the
misunderstood.
education,
I said you have to be born here. I'm saying is that you can't be a black person who wasn't born here. You
so
have
you're going to discriminate against the handicapped? That seems
no, I'm saying is no, their opportunity is they can take advantage of the same opportunity, and because you're handicapped doesn't mean you can't take advantage of this. I knew a guy who had severe cerebral palsy. He couldn't speak, he couldn't walk. All he could do was crawl around on the floor. He got a PhD in exercise physiology, and it took him 18 years.
Okay, well, he
That's
again
possible.
was
That can
able
still
to
be
do that,
possible.
but there are people that are not able to do that.
But their injury is not because of the race.
Right, but that's neither here nor there. They
It
can,
is. Yeah, it is.
I know, but you must understand that everybody that goes to college is not going to be a better person, more employable, more anything. All
Well,
they are is they might
that's true.
then be over, have too much education. And they also have to be willing to apply themselves to this opportunity. And a huge amount of people are not interested.
Well, then what I'm saying is the people who are interested in the reparation will take advantage of it.
Okay, but I mean, that just seems a little elitist to me.
No, I think then what is their injury if
they're
they
not smart enough to take advantage of this opportunity? Well, there are lots of people that are not smart enough to take advantage.
Okay, so that goes right back to what I said about, okay, so I give this person you're talking about whatever amount of money. It's kind of reminds me of the
All right,
Powerball.
well, if you want to go with education, why not just say the value of this education is X? You can have the education, or you can have half of the value of the education.
No, because it's not. The value of the education is immeasurable. It's the value of the
For
education.
some people.
No, it's the
No,
value of the
it's not
education.
for all people.
You
How
can
many
stop when you
people do
want
you
to.
know with English degrees or history degrees, and they are working at McDonald's?
Well, that's what they chose to do with it. It's not because it's not the English or history degree that's the problem.
I think you're coming from a point of some amount of privilege, to say the same.
Yeah, that's what blind people do.
Well,
I mean, that's a laughable statement.
I know, I understand that, but I'm just saying that not everybody can take advantage of that offer. So if you were going to do an offer, you have to have some kind of cash buyout, or I would prefer cash.
No.
So you get 4 years of college, or we'll give you $20,000.
No, you can go to college until you're finished. That's the reparation. You can get a PhD, can be a doctor. But I'll put it this way: do I know about injury? I'm not blaming anybody, but the fact of the matter is, 80%, 4 out of 5 blind people are unemployed. So we have programs for that. So that also includes Black people who are blind. They have programs. We have programs for that in addition to the reparation.
Okay, so do you have a college degree?
Yeah.
Are you employed?
Not now. No. I'm I'm a statistic. That's right. Right now. That's right.
So the college degree did not give you the job, the high paying or any paying job.
No, but the jobs that I have had and the position that I'm in right now absolutely had to do with the college degrees, in the sense that I qualified for Social Security and Medicare by the degree that I have and the career that I had. The fact that I'm not working now is not an indication of whether that helped. No, I didn't have as good a career or as robust a career as sighted people do, but without the college degree, I wouldn't have ever qualified for what I have.
Okay, well, why don't you have a PhD?
Life's not over. Why don't I have a PhD? I decided not to. I decided to go to work as a teacher that a PhD wasn't. I didn't have a desire for a PhD to do what I wanted to do. I mean, you don't just go collecting PhDs. Just because you get a PhD doesn't mean everything's right. That's what I'm saying is you can go as far as you want. A PhD may or may not have gotten me further along, depending on what I wanted to do with it.
Okay, well, I'm afraid we're going to have to agree to disagree. And thus ends another episode of Not Right in the Head, starring Joyce the Hammer Nance and
Paul Richardson,
who's no longer Wonky. We will see you next time.